Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I recorded. I've been a little bit busy. Alright, so let's just jump into it. I'm here today to talk about our NICU story. Sorry, my dog is a pain and she's right there. But anyways. Okay, so May 29th she was born. May 30th was when I got to meet her. Because of a C-section. You watch the story, you probably already know. So in the beginning, they put her on a breathing machine, and because her lungs were developed because she was 31 weeks and 6 days. And it was quite a struggle because when I first got to meet her, she was hooked up to like every single tube that could be possible, I think. But after 24 hours of the breathing tube, she was taken off of that and she was breathing on her own, which was wonderful because we were like, oh my god, she's so early, like, is she gonna be okay? And she was really small when I got to meet her. I got to hold her and I was like crying because, it's really emotional when you get to meet your kid for the first time after like not meeting them for 8.5 months and then giving birth and then still not be able to meet them. Anyways, so the first day they're like, okay, you got a pump, blah blah blah. So I brought her some breast milk. She was only doing, I think, 5 mils every 3 hours through a feeding tube, and in the beginning she was tolerating that really well. And then for the first couple days, it just kept staying at 5 mils. Like, they weren't going up, they weren't like lowering it, but she was tolerating really well. And then all of a sudden, she just stopped tolerating it, and she just like stopped. Like, she'd like puke up or spit up or whatever. So then they stopped. They did a little bit lower, like 2 mils or 3 mils, I think. I'm not really sure. And then so about the Thursday, I think it was like June 1st or something, she wasn't really gaining any weight per se. Like, she was just staying at her birth weight, or she went back up to her birth weight because she went down to I think 3.9 pounds, and she was born at 4.7. So she went down a lot. But then she went back up to 4. But then she just stopped gaining weight. I don't know. So then they upped her tube feeding to 15 mils over a period of time. I'm not sure how many days though. And she was tolerating that really good. She started to gain, 20 grams a day, which was great, which is what they wanted. And then, so Friday, I got to go home, and it was not a good day for me because I didn't get to see her because I live an hour and a half away from the hospital. So I used to go and stay, like, we'd go every day. And I mean, I live an hour and a half away, so you can imagine the gas that would be, but it didn't matter. Like, getting to see her and hold her was like the best time of the day. So on the Saturday after she was born, we had drove down really early, like 8 o'clock in the morning. And mind you, I'm still sore from having the C-section. It's hard to walk and go up the stairs and everything. So we go on Saturday to see her, and there's a new nurse that we've never met. And she's like, "Oh, why are you guys here? Like, you guys shouldn't be here." I'm like, "Oh, but we're her parents." And they're like, "Well, you don't have an armband on." And I was like, "Well, my armband like got wet, and they didn't give me another one." So then somehow we had to prove that we were her parents. So Tyler had his armband and stuff, and he kept his in his wallet because he was working and he didn't get to wear it because he was working. So anyway, so he showed them and like, okay, awesome or whatever. And then I was like, can I hold them or hold her? And she's like, oh no, she's not due for feeding yet. You can't hold her until she's ready to feed. I was like, well, I came here to hold her and see her. I didn't come here to watch her through a glass like container or whatever. So I was like, okay, like, I know what I'm doing because I've been here for the last 5 days. Like, I'll just take her out myself because they gave me permission the last time I was there. So she didn't say anything. And she was also on the light because she had jaundice for the first little while. Her levels kept fluctuating between good and bad, and, well, like, not bad, but like not good, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so she also couldn't regulate her temperature, so she was in the incubator for, I think, 2 weeks. But she decided that she all of a sudden would, like, not, I don't know, like, all of a sudden the jaundice was gone. Like, it just disappeared. Like, it didn't come back for a good time. So, it just felt like she was never going home. Every day I was counting, like, oh my god, okay, when is she coming home? So when she was 35 weeks, we had tried breastfeeding, and She did okay. Like, it's my first time. I don't really know what to expect, but it was my first time. So I was like, okay, well, I don't really know. But that was a struggle because she was so little, and like when you're breastfeeding, your boob is so big compared to how small they are. So I did pump for her every day, every 3 hours, even though she wasn't home. And so I would bring breast milk in every time I went there. So they had a good stock for a while. And it seems like she just kept going one step closer to coming home and then one step back. It was a big struggle for me because, like I didn't really I didn't know what to do at home. There was nobody felt like something was taken from me, like I had did something wrong, like that I didn't deserve to take her home. But anyways, so then she started doing after we started tried breastfeeding because they wanted me to breastfeed before I did the bottle. And I said, you know what, let's do the bottle because I think breast milk she got until she was 4 months, but I just think that it's hard to do the breast right away when they're so little. So anyway, so we did the bottle and she would take her 15 mils in the beginning. And then they upped it every other day until when she was gaining weight pretty good. And so she was taking the bottles, whatever. But then we had nurses that were like not really forcing her to take the bottle. We had a nurse that was forcing her, like not forcing, but like ensuring she was taking the bottle. And then we had nurses that were like, if she takes the bottle, she takes the bottle. And then there's me who's like, okay, well, I want her to take the bottle because I want her to come home. So I would come in one day and they said, okay, come in at 11 o'clock because that's her feeding. So we came in for 11 o'clock. They hooked up the feeding tube at 10:50 when they're not supposed to feed her till 11, and it's supposed to be a bottle because there's a bottle every other feeding. I was so mad. And I was like, well, why are we feeding her early? She's not even awake. Like, why are we feeding her early? Like, usually they try to wait until she cries a little bit. And they're like, oh, well, we have 6 other babies we have to worry about. Okay, well, I understand that, but, we made an agreement that I'd come in at 11, so you guys don't have to feed her. I do. So anyway, so I said, okay, whatever, just brush it off, whatever. Not having a good day that day. I was so mad. I was like, this is, ridiculous. Like, this is not fair. Like, now I don't get to hold her until she's done eating because they don't want to interrupt her feeding from the feeding tube, which she was supposed to have a bottle. And I wasn't waiting till 2 to feed her again because that's 3 hours. And, so I got to hold her. By this time, she was, I think almost 5 pounds. So this was like 2 or 3 weeks later. She was still not fully on bottles yet. So we also, so now she's not on jaundice. She's gaining weight like great. Her temperature is great. Like she's not in the incubator anymore. She's in like a bassinet bed thing. She's taking 3 out of 8 bottles, I think, at this time. And then towards the end, so I called the nurse and I was like, do you guys have enough breast milk? And they said, yeah, don't bring any, it's fine. I said, okay, awesome, I don't have to bring any, that's good, so I'll keep my stock at home. So I come in, I drive myself there, and yeah, so I get there. I was like, oh, hi, Skyla, how are you? Like, talking to the baby, And I'm holding her, and the girl goes, did you bring any breast milk? And I was like, no, nobody told me to. I called them last night, and they said no. And she's like, oh, we have 3 bottles left. That's enough for 3 feedings. Now she's at like 60 mils. Like, I'm jumping a little bit because it'd be a really long video if I did it. And I was like, what do you mean she only has 3 bottles? She's like, yeah, she has enough feedings until 10 o'clock tonight. Mind you, I live an hour and a half away, like north. So I'm like freaking out, like, oh my God, I have to drive Tyler home. Like, he gets off at 5. I'm not going to make it. It's 3:30. Like, that's literally just enough time to get home, not make it back. And I already just got here like 20 minutes ago. And so I'm like furious, like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? So I called Tyler. He said his brother's going to drive him home. I was like, okay, well, that makes it a little bit easier for me. So I'm like hysterically crying on the phone. I'm so mad, so upset. Like, all of my emotions are crazy right now. So right now it's the end of June almost, right before Canada Day. So it's the Friday of the weekend. I'm pretty sure it's a long weekend. I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember the exact date, but I know it's the end of June. Anyway, so I go all the way home, grab all the breast milk I have in my freezer, go all the way back, and I go and I feed her again. And so I'm like, I might as well spend a little bit of time with her. So then I get in the car to drive away. I just break down. Just start crying. I just drove, 3 hours to, like, for not nothing, but just for somebody's stupidity. Like, why wouldn't you tell me we didn't have breast milk if we did or didn't? Like, it's stupid. I don't get it. But anyway, so I had to call Tyler and tell him, like, to come to the hospital to drive me home because I could not drive. Like, I couldn't stop crying. Like, I couldn't. So he came, his brother dropped him off, and he drove us home. And I just couldn't stop crying. I cried the whole way home. I was so depressed. Like, I went through a big depression. And I just really don't understand how people, we just had a baby. Like, why can't you just be nice and not tell us, like, lies? It's so stupid. But anyway, so the next day, it was, I think, the very end of June. I think the 30th, I think. So 1 day or 2 days before Canada Day. So on the Saturday, which was Canada Day, I was like, okay, Tyler, let's go see her for Canada Day. We put it on. We forgot her Canada Day onesie because it was going to be too big anyway, but we forgot it. So we went there. She was taking her bottles. She was doing good. So Sunday, we decided not to go because we wanted to have a day just to relax and not have any stress, and I'd go back Monday. So Saturday night, I call them and I say, like, hey, how is she doing? I won't be coming in tomorrow. I need to do a couple things around the house while I'm healing before, like, eventually she's going to come home. And they said, oh, she's, had her whole 8 bottles today. Like, no tube at all. And I'm, like, getting so excited, and I'm, like, so ready for her to come home. And I'm like, oh my God. So I get up the next morning, Sunday, at 5 in the morning. And then I wait till 5:30 to find out if she had a bottle. So then she was on, I think, 9 bottle, like her 9th bottle. Then I call again, like, 5-6 hours later, like after a couple feedings. Like, yeah, she's on her 11th bottle. So meanwhile, she has to do 16 bottles, which is 48 hours of feedings. So she's halfway there. So I was, like, freaking out, like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Tyler's like, don't get your hopes up. She could crash at any minute and not take them anymore. So the next morning, on Monday, I had called them and said, hey, like, how many bottles has she done? And they're like, and then Monday was the holiday, I think. Yeah, Monday Tyler had off. Yeah, Monday Tyler had off because yeah. And so they're like, okay, you have to come in because she's ready to go home. And I was like, wait, what? She's ready to come home? Are you sure? Like, is this a joke? Like, are we playing a joke on me? Like, I don't, and then I'm, like, crying, and they're like, no, you have to come and spend one night, 24 hours in, like, a parent room and, like, parent her, like, the way you would if you had her and brought her home the same day. So I'm, like, freaking out, jumping up and down, getting everything ready before I have to leave and be there. So then I get to the hospital, and I get to, like, unplug all of her cords, take them all off, no heart monitor, nothing. No monitors, no tubes, nothing. It was amazing. So I brought her in the care by parent room. I got there for 3, and I started caring for her from 3 till, I think, 11 the next morning. So Tyler had met me at the hospital, and we had drove home together, like, separately in 2 different cars, but I had her in the back seat. That was the best day of my entire life. But we will get into that after this video. Thank you for watching. Bye.